And the notion here is that if someone's forcing me to do something that I don't want to do, I am being denied my liberty, I am being denied my individuality, and I refuse. The legitimacy of civil disobedience is grounded in individual liberty, thus, and what Thoreau conceives to be the proper role of government. Law, to be respected, must be reasonable and cannot violate an individual's conscience. Now here, we are going to unpack elements of this essay and explore its liberal grounding. Again, with Thoreau, the individual is the natural state of man. Individualism is the key. He argues that individuals have to live, to be true to themselves, in accordance with their nature. Anything to the contrary be damned. I perceive, he writes, that when an acorn and a chestnut fall side by side, the one does not remain inert to make way for the other, but both obey their own laws and spring and grow and flourish as best they can, till one, perchance, overshadows and destroys the other. If a plant cannot live according to its nature, it dies. And so a man. Men must live in accordance with their nature. Well, the question then is, what is that nature? And Thoreau says, in balance, it's freedom-loving, energetic, frolicking. That's what man is, or was to be. But then an intervening variable arises: society. And in society, perversion begins. Perversion of the natural state of man. Man in society becomes passive, shallow, ignorant, and highly conformist. He writes, "The American has dwindled into an odd fellow, one who may be known by the development of his organ of gregariousness and a manifest lack of intellect and cheerful self-reliance, whose first and chief concern on coming into the world is to see that the almshouses are in good repair, and before yet he has lawfully donned the virile garb, to collect a fund for the support of widows and orphans that may be, who in short ventures to live only by the aid of the mutual insurance company, which has promised to bury him decently." Social man seeks security, material security. Social man seeks others to define who he or she is. There is a mob-based conformity. There's a mob-based conformity. There's a great poster that has titled Individualism. And the picture is of a sea of zebras. Not a sea, actually, but them standing in a field. And obviously, with zebras standing in a field closely packed, it's hard to pick out where one begins and where one ends. And the subtitle on this demotivational poster is Individuality. When people are free to be what they choose to be, they act like everyone else. That's Thoreau's gripe. That's Thoreau's gripe. All men are a sort of go along to get along kind of people. And that's a function of living in society. In this state, man is little more than a machine, or a part of a machine. He writes, "The mass of men serve the state thus, not as men mainly, but as machines with their bodies. They put themselves on a level with wood and earth and stones, and wooden men can perhaps be manufactured that will serve the purpose as well. Such command no more respect than men of straw or lump of dirt. They have the same sort of worth only as horses and dogs." Now, this is not man naturally, But this is social man. This is man congregating. This is man slapping everybody else's back and getting along. Now, Thoreau's interest lies not so much in this social, gregarious man. He has little, if any, sense of social obligation. Thoreau's concern is Thoreau. He is what he is, and he refuses to buckle to others. He says, I am not responsible for the successful working of society. That is not my job. He eschews political involvement. As for adopting the ways which the state has provided for remedying the evil, I know not of such ways. They take too much time, and a man's life will be gone. I have other affairs to attend to. I came into this world not chiefly to make this a good place to live in, but to live in it, be it good or bad. So don't bother me about, getting involved in the political process and trying to change the policy toward Mexico and the policy on slavery. That's not my job. I'm here to live. I can't be bothered with that. But I can't be expected to advance it either. He is here simply to be the best him that he can be, and the best him that he can be is the free him. Freedom comes not from without, but from within. Freedom is a state of mind, living and acting in accordance to one's beliefs, living consistently with the dictates of your conscience. Again, in the essay, he writes, "It is not many moments that I live under a government, even in this world. If a man is thought-free, fancy-free, imagination-free, that which is not never for a long time appearing to him to be, unwise rulers or reformers cannot fatally interrupt him. As long as he is free in his mind, thought-free, fancy-free, living in accordance with his conscience, nothing can really bother him. But if others force him to act contrary to his conscience, he has a duty to resist. A free man lives in accordance with the dictates of his conscience." That is what freedom entails. That is what being a man entails. That is the requirement of individuality. Must the citizen ever, for a moment, or in the least degree, resign his conscience to the legislature? Why has every man a conscience then? I think that we should be men first and subjects afterwards. It is not desirable to cultivate a respect for the law so much as for the right. The only obligation which I have a right to assume is to do what I think at any time right. He goes to jail to be free, to live in accordance with his conscience, not to conform to the will of the state, democratic though it may be. Under a government, he writes, which imprisons any unjustly, the true place for a just man is also a prison. Ruminating on his experience in the prison, Thoreau says that he did not feel for a moment confined. The wall seemed a great waste of stone and mortar. I am free not because of what is around me. I am free because of what is in me. So if the external encroaches, I will stop it. I will say no. I will be a resistant to the machine.